What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you.
Well, if you're a Bills fan, you're feeling pretty good about now. I have some thoughts on how the Bills dismantled the Miami Dolphins 48-20. That's coming right up. Well, the Bills' 4-touchdown win over the previously supposedly unstoppable Miami Dolphins was due to a lot of factors. You had Josh Allen's perfect quarterback rating. How often does that happen? Stephon Diggs had an eye-popping production day, 4 touchdowns, an unbelievable 55-yard run and catch after the pass, a stout offensive line, Josh Allen was barely touched, and much more. But for this game, I think it's the defense that surprised more than a few NFL experts across the nation. Now, right here, I would like to recognize my sponsors, Blue Tusk Tech in Orchard Park. All your computer needs, used or new, they can do it, and very reasonably and with a smile. And also Global Vending Group of Buffalo. Their worldwide vending program is helping provide young people a better chance at literacy, and again, this is all over the world. Well, I can't remember a time in over 40 years covering the Bills when an opponent came into a game coming off such an astonishing performance. Yeah, I know Tom Brady's Patriots had some great offenses, but the Miami Dolphins were supposedly revolutionizing the way that offense is played in the NFL. Coming off a 70 spot, they hammered onto the Denver Broncos. Now, even though the Bills had bounced back from the early stumble against the Jets, they were impressive against the Raiders, then against the Commanders, who, by the way, gave the Eagles a very tough game. Well, it seems that nobody had even noticed. The Speedy Dolphins were the media's shiny new toy, and in my unofficial poll, more than half the predictions were for the Fins to roll in Orchard Park. The Bills, well, they were aware of the slight. They've been getting pretty used to it after the Bengals playoff loss and then that opening clinker in New Jersey. But deep down, they knew they were more than capable of responding to this challenge. Fear is a powerful motivator for athletes, fear of being embarrassed on a national scale. And the Bills knew full well if they didn't play at their best, that could happen. The Dolphins certainly had Buffalo's attention, averaging over 43 points a game and over 500-plus yards in a 3-0 start. Mike McDaniel, who ironically was once a Denver Broncos intern, had the speed he needed to stretch defenses all over the field and the quarterback to run it. Now, say what you want about Tua Tagovailoa, but the lefty can throw the football and throw it with accuracy. Now, he doesn't have Allen's cannon, but with the quick releases to guys named Hill, Waddle, Mostert, Chan, and others, it's really, really tough to defend all of that. Almost impossible except for one thing. Bills head coach Sean McDermott is now focusing on the Bills' D, and what a way to prove to some doubters that he made the right call. Now, this is my opinion. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I still think McDermott wanted to do this sooner, but how do you fire a competent defensive coordinator like Leslie Frazier? He's a hell of a coordinator. He's a former NFL head coach. His Bills defenses were always up there among the leaders, except come playoff time. Now, maybe it was that 13-second fiasco at Kansas City. Maybe that was the proverbial final straw. But the fact that Frazier suddenly decided to take a year off, that never rang true to me. He and McDermott had enough mutual respect, though, to make the departure seem like a shared understanding. But I think McDermott had another vision for his D. He wanted a defense that could grow into something special against some great offenses that will come on later down playoff time. His scheme for Miami, brilliant, even though it didn't look promising, as the Fins' first 2 possessions resulted in long touchdown drives. It was kind of scary. After that, 1 touchdown the entire rest of the game. Now, talent helps. The Bills' rotating D-line was bringing a lot of pressure on Tagovailoa, but the quick release was nullifying that design early. The Bills just couldn't replicate that speed in practice, so it took a little time to adjust to it. McDermott's plan was to take away Tua's first read And it started working beautifully when and after the Bills started increasing their lead. Tua started holding the ball longer, and he started making some mistakes. He will do that. 4 sacks, 9 hits, he had an interception, and the Bills also forced a Miami fumble. Yeah, the Fins did pick up just under 400 yards, but they scored just 6 points over the final 3 quarters. Hats off big time to Sean McDermott. Unfortunately, the game wasn't without a cost. Cornerback Trey White just now rounding into previous form after that torn ACL cost him a year. He ruptured an Achilles tendon, and he's done for the season. We may be seeing former first-round pick Kaiir Elam a little sooner rather than later. But again, this was complimentary football. The offense put pressure on the Dolphins to keep pace. Eventually, they had to pretty much abandon a very explosive running game, and that's a beautiful thing if you're a Bills fan. Josh Allen, well, he should be a top candidate for MVP after this one. His 3rd straight gem, he was 21 of 25, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns passing, another one rushing, no interceptions. That's a quarterback rating, a perfect 158.3. Now, I'm still convinced the Jets game, hear me out here, was a positive for Allen, who admittedly was too jacked up for that much ballyhooed opener against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Since then, following offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey's outstanding game plan, Allen has just been unbelievable. He's still taking chances. He's not going to go into a conservative shell, but he's now judicious with the runs, knowing when it's not time to try to extend the play, maybe to take the sack. Both his sacks were coverage sacks, and he threw a couple away. This Allen, very, very difficult to defend. And what about Diggs? Maybe his mysterious issue with Allen and or the coaching staff in the offseason brought about the desired effect. Just when you think he can't get better, he grabs 6 balls for 120 yards, 3 touchdowns, makes the play of the year by breaking a couple of tackles on a 55-yard TD catch and run that broke the game open. Next up, the London trip. Most NFL players do not appreciate, but the Jacksonville Jags are already there. And although they'll be playing in another stadium, they played at Wembley and won that game. But now, of course, they'll be changing venues. But a long way to go, some tough stretches ahead. But this Bills team may be the best one of the McDermott-Allen era. That's saying a lot. Well, again, my sponsors, a thank you to them, Blue Tusk Tech in Orchard Park, where they can handle all your computer needs, and Global Vending Group of Buffalo, their vending program to increase literacy all over the world is having spectacular results. We'll see you soon.